Hello, and welcome to a video response to a question that the gentleman gamer posed to us. The question was, do we meticulously plan out our game sessions, or do we rely upon improvisation? I find that I am in strong agreement with the video response that Nero's Fiddle uploaded. If you know the setting and the rules very, very well, then I think that a GM can improvise and do it exceedingly well. In the games that I have played and where improvisation was the order of the day, I have found that GMs were bigger risk takers. They were willing to push the envelope of the story for the sake of seeing where it led, as they were participating and not just reading a script. You could see the wheels turning, and you knew that they were just as excited and challenged as the rest of the players. I like to develop a detailed villain. I want to know what his goals are, methods, and resources that are available to him. I am drawn to villains that are not evil simply for the sake of being evil. They find themselves in a situation where they feel that they have no alternative to take a course of action that they are not entirely comfortable with. The players may never come to realize that there is more to the villain's actions than meet the eye, a point that is often hard to resist revealing after the dust has settled, although I have gotten a little bit better about that. What I consider to be a good villain is a lot of fun to play, and for me, it's the starting point of any adventure. Maps. I like maps, and I have a pretty decent collection of them. So I will go through them and choose a few that appeal to me for the setting. Making use of scratch-built as well as retail miniature-scale scenery is another way that I present the players with a visual aspect of the setting. Building and collecting this sort of terrain is something that I can use again and again. One of the things that I like is that during larger combats, it really helps bring everyone onto the same page of reference. As with a single glance, you can see the situation as it stands. And being a miniature wargamer, as well as an RPG enthusiast, I get double duty out of my miniatures and terrain, especially since now I restrict myself to the 28mm scale, or more accurately, 1/58 scale. I know that there's a fairly wide divide within the RPG community about the use of miniatures. All that I can say is that I find they work for my game sessions. Handouts. I started printing out treasure and gear on business cards for NPCs and locations. Each card has an ID number in the corner, which corresponds to a master treasure sheet index. Players ask me what was the orc carrying. I hand them one of these cards and use a highlighter on the corresponding ID number to know that the treasure has been given out, and let the players divvy it up. It's much less tedious for me that way. One of the interesting things that I have done with this approach is occasionally take that highlighter and choose something completely mundane from the items on that card and mark it on my master index sheet and see who ends up with it. I can use this as something of a plot hook for some side adventures down the road. And since I do 3D art, I will create a few pieces that highlight the villain or location. Again, this is something that I enjoy, so I feel that it is a bonus that I get to do it. I will come up with a list of names and some stat blocks. As I use them, I will check them off. With Hero Lab, I can come up with stat blocks for level-appropriate NPCs that the party might encounter in relatively short order. John 4 has produced an awesome PDF known as NPC Essentials. I rely on this a great deal. I don't know if it's still in print or not, but when I got it, I downloaded it from RPG Now. I highly recommend it. The other one that I use for modern or near future is from Chameleon Eclectic Entertainment. It's the GM's Companion, one of the great unsung products of its day. Sadly, this product is no longer available. If you can dig up a used copy, though, it is definitely worth it. Post-game. This is where the heavy lifting really comes into play. As the Tabletop Titan noted in his video response, notes are absolutely essential. I will record the session and then come up with an overview of the action. This lets me keep track of NPCs that I create on the fly, so I can bring them back at a later date in context and with continuity. This also makes it easier for me during the game, as I don't have to be constantly taking handwritten notes. Being able to review how the game went with a more objective perspective and see where the big lags occurred, who was obviously having fun, who was dead silent, and make sure that I consistently maintain a tempo within the game session. I would say that there is a level of improvisation in terms of the storyline, and if the players go off on a tangent, I'm not derailed. However, there certainly is a level of prep work that I do prior to a game session, which is quite enjoyable for me. I think the important thing is not to become so obsessed with your favorite villain, your favorite location, favorite piece of treasure, that you lose sight of the flow of the game. Or I should actually say the flow of the story. One of the things that I would add is that prep work that I do that I don't get to use in one game session, I'll normally be able to recycle it down the road. It may take a while, but it's never really lost effort. Well, that does it for me. I hope this was helpful, or at least not entirely boring. And as always, play games and have fun.